quickly we forget the strikes of 2023. Two unions, SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America, went on strike, and one of their primary issues that they wanted resolutions on from the studios was AI protections for actors, AI protections for writers' rooms, reestablishing a status quo for the new era of streaming. But now, the year is 2025, and our two leading Oscar contenders both have AI controversies. Womp womp. Let's discuss. So, in case you haven't heard, there's been a little bit of online grumbling, controversy, whatever you want to call it, regarding both Emilia Perez and The Brutalist. Both films, in terms of their sound mixing, have been found to have used AI. Neither film, to my knowledge, disclosed this up front. These are things that people kind of dug into after interviews with the sound mixers. I think specifically for The Brutalist, I'll be linking some articles down below for you to look at if you'd like the original stories where I got a lot of this information from. In the case of Emilia Perez, the actress Karla Sofia Gascon, her vocal audio tracks while she is singing were overlaid using AI sound mixing tools. I am not claiming to know a lot about sound mixing and or the different levels of computer intelligence that already go into this craft. So again, I'm just relaying this information as I found it. The overlaying of Camille, who is a French artist who was partially responsible for some of the songs and the sound design of Emilia Perez, to my understanding, they overlaid those vocals and mixed them using an AI software to kind of perfect this. And in the case of The Brutalist, the AI was again used in sound mixing when Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones, specifically their characters, are speaking in a Hungarian accent. According to the sound mixer, authentic Hungarian accent is quite hard to get for non-native speakers because of the distinct sound that some of the vowels make. And so the sound mixer decided to use a AI software to use his natural Hungarian to kind of perfect some of these vowel sounds. So the argument or the claim here is that this was not used on any of the performances or the English spoken word. It was simply used to correct a few mistakes in Hungarian. Now, both of these are like, let me play a devil's advocate here. They seem kind of minor, right? However, at the Oscars, there is an Academy Award for Best Sound and Best Sound Mixing. I believe actually those might be the same thing now. Like there's song and score and then sound, which is combining the sound mixing and the sound editing. But this is a craft. So by nature of saying you're using AI to do this, you are taking away the work of potentially another person to do the sound mixing work or sound design work. By using the AI, using this generative AI, which I think is also kind of the keyword here. And to me, this calls into question what these strikes were talking about 2 years ago now, which is labor protection for those in the industry and not replacing or cutting back on labor for a robot to take somebody's job, a computer to take somebody's job. And I think in this case, the Brutalist director, whose name I can't think of at this moment in time, Brady Corbet, is claiming, well, we were a lower budget film. Like this was just a way for us to get our message across. And my initial response to that would be, okay, so there's going to be imperfections if your film is this indie artistic project. So I think here the issue is that, one, you're taking away potential jobs. The second issue is that if either of these two films wins an award, which The Brutalist technically is not nominated for a sound award. So I guess you could say, oh, well, maybe this is irrelevant. Well, Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones are both nominated in their performances. And my argument would be, would they have been nominated if not? I would probably say yes. If this AI was not used, if their Hungarian was not perfect, even if people picked them apart online, sure. But again, to play devil's advocate, a lot of people have commented on Selena Gomez's lack of proper Spanish speaking and or the way she conveys emotion in Spanish in Emilia Perez. And she is the one actress of the three in Emilia Perez that is not nominated for an Oscar. I'm not saying those are necessarily the same reason. Having two actresses from the same film in the same category would be a little bit tricky to try to pull off as well. And I do think that Selena Gomez is the weaker performance. However, you could make the argument that you could use AI, because it's not technically against the rules, to perfect her performance, and then does that make her performance better? Again, I'm not trying to attack Adrian Brody or Felicity Jones for this. They're not in control of the post-production, but I think there's a beauty to having imperfections in a film, specifically a film that is about someone setting out with a vision to make something, not only the narrative within the film, but also outside of the film, okay? The other argument that I could hear in like, oh, this isn't important, this doesn't matter, to me is that, well, in plenty of times, specifically more in the Emilia Perez realm, right? Plenty of people have had vocals overlaid before, right? The most recent example that I can think of is Rami Malek had Freddie Mercury vocals, as well as other people's vocals, overlaid to kind of make his singing voice sound more like Freddie Mercury's in Bohemian Rhapsody. My defense to that is that an actual human being had to determine, okay, here's how much Freddie Mercury there's going to be, here's how much Rami Malek, here's how much of whoever else, right? There's somebody making that determination rather than an AI going, here's a version, here's a version, here's a version, and then someone picking one. And or just, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's the lack of actual applied human skill to achieve the same result. Again, I think there's a lot of argument here as that can be had and interesting debate and discourse about how far is certain technology to change a film's ability. But I would make the point that in a lot of cases, films win Oscars that have massive imperfections and or are nominated for Oscars with massive imperfections. I don't think that the response to that is let me perfect my imperfections of my lower budget, non-distributor supported film by using AI. Additionally, I think it throws a little bit of shade at your performers now, because now people are wondering, well, what would the performance have been without AI? Does that change it? Does that change if we nominate it? Does that change if we award it something? And that's where I get to the point of disclosure. When I upload a YouTube video, it's not mandated, but there is an option to disclose whether something is AI or not. If this contains anything that is an AI-generated image, an AI-generated script, anything like that. For something that is way less important than the Oscars, way less important, is it includes an option for disclosure. And I just wonder, would the reaction be as strong and or the controversy be as, the discourse around it be so pervasive if either of these films had disclosed that this was used up front? And then, again, the argument continues. Do you have to disclose exactly what materials you're using so that people in each different guild can go, oh, okay, well, we like this technology, we don't like this technology? I think that gets messy. And so I see where there is a snowball effect to asking to disclose this. But again, if the industry is standing behind, we do not want AI taking people's jobs, I think that is legitimate to question films that are leading Oscar nominations and or potential frontrunners for the awards that have used these. And I did think it was interesting to see that this guy was like, here's an issue, I don't want this language portrayed incorrectly, let me change this. But at the same time, I don't know. I think it throws unnecessary questioning onto your performers, especially if you're using it for an aspect of their performance. I think that it throws into question, are there other films that are not disclosing their AI information? There just hasn't been anybody that has kind of openly discussed it. Should there be? Like, I think there's a lot of ongoing conversations to be had about this AI thing, because I think it's less about stealing someone's name and likeness, but it still could potentially be used to say, we only need one sound mixer, when really you need two, but instead you're just going to use an AI software. Again, I think there's also a skill level to using the AI software, so potentially that's an argument to be made. I think just from my perspective, I think it is wild how quickly we have now seen this, like I said, AI be used in films that are lead nominations for the Oscars. Curious to know what you think. This was a topic I really wanted to talk about because I have talked about Emilia Perez at length on this channel, and I just kind of, once I found this information out, thought it was fascinating. And I think just the processes for why a film was used in that specific aspect of the industry's community's response to usage of AI, unfair practices on a film, like I think having those conversations ultimately makes the industry a better place to work. And I'll leave you at that. Also, I'm so sorry I haven't uploaded. This 75 hard is indeed hard. And I think I either need to pre-film and pre-edit to get ahead of this and or adjust kind of the way I want to approach it. So you may not see me every single day, but you may potentially. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is best for me and the channel. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys with another video very soon. Bye, y'all.